Welcome to this three-part series on how to travel anywhere in the world for less than $100. If you're like most people, you probably want to travel more, but the biggest thing holding you back is money. Travel can be expensive. Trust me, I know my wife and I have spent the last 16 months traveling around the world full-time. Stick with me through this three-part series and I'm going to show you how you can travel anywhere in the world for less than $100. But before we get started, I wanted to introduce myself for those of you who don't already know me. So this is the part of the video where I told you I was going to introduce myself and then I forgot to tell you my name. My name is Nate Buchanan. Okay, unpause. My wife and I are full-time travel YouTubers and we just got back from our 50th country of Peru. Our goal is to visit 100 countries by 2019. We've now been on the road full-time for the past 16 months and there's no way any of this would have been possible without frequent flyer miles. Let me give you just a few examples of how we've been able to use frequent flyer miles to score crazy cheap flights over the past 18 months. Our first big trip was from Nashville to Tokyo. For only $11.20, we were able to eat authentic sushi and watch a sumo wrestling match. Then, for $83, we flew from Tokyo to the Philippines in business class to swim with giant whale sharks. Later in our journey, for $93, we flew from Hong Kong to New Zealand, where we rented a camper van and discovered a waterfall with tons of baby seals. Then we flew from New Zealand to Nepal for only $49, where we successfully made it to Everest Base Camp.
We did it!
These are only a few of the amazing experiences that we've been able to have thanks to Miles and Points. The entire reason we've been able to travel to so many places so cheaply is because before we left, I was able to save up almost 2 million miles and points. Now you might not want to get as crazy as me saving up 2 million frequent flyer miles, or maybe you do, I don't know, but I bet you at least want to save a few $100s on your next plane ticket. And that's what I'm going to be showing you how to do in this three-part series. So without further ado, let's jump into it. Okay, so we're going to be spending the rest of this lesson here in the slides because as I walk you through this process, there's going to be a few things that are a little complicated and I thought it would be best if you had some visuals to follow along with. First, I wanted to start by defining what is travel hacking because throughout this mini course, you're going to hear me refer to travel hacking, so I thought it was important that you at least had an understanding. And travel hacking isn't necessarily one specific thing, but it essentially boils down to strategically earning miles and points to travel the world for pennies on the dollar. And travel hacking is basically a bunch of strategies that fall within that definition. So let's start with how do you earn frequent flyer miles? The fastest way to earn frequent flyer miles is actually by signing up for travel credit cards and earning the sign-up bonuses on those credit cards. The next fastest way is by strategically spending money on those travel credit cards. I bet when I ask you how do you earn frequent flyer miles, the first thing that popped in your mind was probably flying, because that's what most people think when they think about earning frequent flyer miles. However, it's actually possible to earn frequent flyer miles faster on the ground than it is in the air. And so now what I want to do is look at a couple examples and prove that to you. The first example that we're going to be looking at is a flight from New York to Rome on United Airlines. So on United Airlines, you earn miles based on the price that you pay for the ticket. So a normal member of the United Airlines frequent flyer program earns 5 points for every $1 on the base fare of their ticket. So in this example, let's pretend like the ticket from New York to Rome costs $1,500. If you were to pay that amount of money for your ticket, you would earn 1,500 times 5, which equals 7,500. So for this round trip flight from New York to Rome, you would earn 7,500 points. Now let's look at an example of how many United miles you'd be able to earn just by signing up for one credit card. In this example, we're specifically talking about the United Mileage Plus credit card from Chase Bank. Just by signing up for this credit card and meeting the minimum spend, you'll be able to earn 50,000 United miles. That's way more miles than you'd earn for flying a round trip from New York to Rome. And just to take that math a little bit further, you would have to fly that same round trip flight 6.6 times to earn the same amount of points as you would just for signing up for that one United credit card. Pretty crazy, right? The great news is there are a ton of travel credit cards, so you can sign up for multiple cards and earn multiple sign-up bonuses. Not only are there credit cards that earn frequent flyer miles that help you fly for free, there are also travel credit cards that you can sign up for that earn hotel points. So then you can fly to your destination using frequent flyer miles and then redeem your hotel points to stay for free in a hotel, making your entire vacation extremely cheap. Now, I want to give you a personal example of what's actually possible. So I've now been travel hacking for the past 3 or 4 years, so I've signed up for a lot of credit cards. And here's just 5 that I applied for within 1 year's time. One of the very first travel credit cards that I applied for was the Citi Advantage MasterCard, which is a card that earns American Airlines frequent flyer miles. And as you can see, I earned a 50,000 point sign-up bonus just by signing up for that card and meeting the minimum spend. Next, I signed up for a Southwest card and I earned 50,000 Southwest points. Then I signed up for a US Airways card, which that airline doesn't even exist anymore. They merged with American. Those 40,000 points actually ended up turning into American Airline miles. Then I signed up for the Barclay Arrival card, which earned 40,000 points. Those aren't exactly frequent flyer miles, but we'll discuss that in a future lesson. And lastly, I signed up for the United Mileage Plus Explorer card and also earned 40,000 United points. So just within a 1 year period, as you can see, the dates are in the middle column, I was able to earn 220,000 frequent flyer miles by signing up for 5 different travel credit cards. Now, I know the first question that you're going to ask, because every time I tell people about this strategy in person, it's the first question that they always ask me. Everybody wants to know what happens to your credit score after signing up for multiple travel credit cards. When I first started travel hacking 3 or 4 years ago, my credit score was somewhere between 700 and 740. It was a decent score, but not great. Now that I've been doing this for the past 3 or 4 years, and I've signed up for somewhere between 15 and 20 travel credit cards, my credit score has actually gone from between 700 and 740 to over 800. The credit score that you're seeing on the back of this slide is my personal credit score. I actually used a service called Credit Karma to track my credit score, and this is a screenshot from my account that was taken yesterday. The reason that this happens is because when they're calculating your credit score, they actually want to see that you have multiple open lines of credit. And the more open lines of credit you have, the better. And when you open a new credit card, you're opening a new line of credit. Basically, the way banks look at it is for every open line of credit that you have that you're managing wisely, it's more proof that you can manage money responsibly, so that increases your credit score. Now, your credit score might get dinged when you very first apply for a credit card, because when the bank checks your credit score, it's what's known as a hard credit inquiry, and it could lower your credit score by a few points. But your credit score will bounce back within the next few months, and in the long term, your credit score can actually increase by using this travel hacking strategy. After people ask me what happens to my credit score, the next thing they want to know is, what about all of the fees? Don't you have to pay a bunch of fees with credit cards? When you get a credit card, there's 2 fees that you need to be concerned with. One is interest, and the second is the annual fee. The way that Kara and I avoid interest is that we don't carry a balance. As soon as we get a credit card, the first thing that we do is go online and set up automatic payments. So every month, as soon as our bill is due, the money that we owe is automatically taken out of our bank account to pay off that credit card. That way, we never miss a payment, so our credit score stays in great shape, and we never pay any interest because we don't carry a balance on the credit card. Annual fees, on the other hand, can be a little more tricky, but the majority of them are still easily avoidable. Actually, a lot of travel credit cards will waive the annual fee for the first year, so you can sign up for the card and get the points without even paying an annual fee. Then you just have to worry about what to do when your annual fee comes due at the beginning of your second year of card membership. And at that point, you have the option to keep, cancel, or downgrade your card. And a lot of travel credit cards offer benefits that are worth paying the annual fee. For example, some hotel credit cards will offer a free night if you pay your annual fee and extend your card membership for a second year. If the benefits don't outweigh the annual fee, then you're left with two options. You can either cancel the card or downgrade the card. Now, canceling the card is definitely a way to avoid paying an annual fee, but you don't want to cancel too many cards because it will hurt your credit score. So what I like to try to do is downgrade the card. A lot of banks offer the option to downgrade your current card to a card that has no annual fee. That keeps your line of credit open and it helps to keep your credit score in good standing. So by using the strategies that I just laid out, you can avoid the majority of the fees that are associated with credit cards. The biggest thing that I hope you've taken away from this lesson so far is that the easiest way to earn a lot of frequent flyer miles is by signing up for multiple travel credit cards and then spending on those credit cards strategically. And this is possible to do without ruining your credit score and without paying a lot of fees. The biggest reason that I'm really trying to drive this point home right now is because I know this is what holds the majority of people back from getting into travel hacking and taking advantage of all of the cheap travel that truly is possible using these strategies. Okay, so just a couple of minutes ago, I told you that in 1 year, I was able to earn 220,000 frequent flyer miles. Well, that sounds like a lot of points, but what is a frequent flyer mile actually worth? Normally, the value of a frequent flyer mile falls somewhere between 1 and 2 cents. But there's actually no set value associated with frequent flyer miles. Instead, it's all about how you use the frequent flyer mile that determines the value. So let's look at an example. To understand the true value of a frequent flyer mile, the first thing you need to understand is award charts. And award charts are basically charts that airlines use to tell you how much a flight is going to cost if you want to use your frequent flyer miles. And the majority of the big airlines have what's called a zone-based award chart. Essentially, it costs a certain amount of points to fly from one zone to another zone. And in most cases, a continent or a subdivided continent is a zone. So for example, North America or the United States and Canada is one zone. So to fly anywhere from North America to anywhere in Europe, which is another zone, is going to cost you 30,000 points one way. Or to fly anywhere in North America to anywhere in Southeast Asia, it's going to cost you 40,000 points one way. Also, if you look, we have another example here on the slide of flying from New York to South Africa. So if you wanted to fly from New York to northern South Africa, that's going to cost you 20,000 points. South Africa is actually divided into two zones. So if you wanted to fly from New York to southern South Africa, that would cost you 30,000 points. You can also fly within a same zone. So if you wanted to fly from New York out to California, so that would be a trip that's inside of one zone, that would cost you 12,500 points. Each airline's zone-based award chart varies a little bit, but these are pretty common prices. And all of the prices that we've looked at so far are one-way prices, and you get the round trip price by just doubling the numbers that you're seeing here on the slide. So the trip from North America to Europe would cost 60,000 points round trip. Okay, so now let's look at a little math of exactly how you would determine the value of a frequent flyer mile. We're going to be using this example again of flying from North America to Europe. That flight's going to cost 60,000 points round trip. Let's say that if you wanted to fly from New York to Italy, the cost of that ticket, if you were paying out of pocket, would be $1,000. So what we can do to get the value of the point is divide $1,000 by 60,000 points, and it gives us a value per point of 1.6 cents. Let's look at one more example. In this example, we're flying from North America to Australia, and it's going to cost us 80,000 points for that round trip flight. Let's say out of pocket that flight would cost $1,500. If we divide $1,500 by 80,000 points, that's giving us a per mile value of 1.8 cents. So as you can see, these are the exact same frequent flyer miles, but because the cost of the flight was different and the amount of frequent flyer miles that you need to get to each location is different, the value actually changes depending on how you use the frequent flyer miles. Okay, hopefully you're sticking with me and hopefully I haven't completely lost you, because that brings us to the end of today's lesson. Today, we learned that the fastest and easiest way to earn a lot of frequent flyer miles is by signing up for travel credit cards. and that you can do that without ruining your credit score or paying a lot of fees. In the next lesson, I'm going to be showing you exactly how you can quickly and easily earn 90,000 United miles by signing up for 2 of my favorite travel credit cards. So make sure you tune in to the next lesson.